Welcome to the LifePro podcast, where today I have the pleasure of having Noa Schecter, who is a leadership and communication coach, also my coach. So I'm really happy to have her, get her on the show. Finally, I know we've been talking about this for a while. Our topic today is communication. And I think it's a very important topic to discuss. It's relevant to the masses in our audience. Noa, how are you today?
Wonderful. We are here, different setting. I can't complain.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me here today.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Why don't you start out and tell us more about your journey, how you ended up as a leadership and communications coach?
Okay, I think I was born as a leadership and communication coach, and this is not a joke. Always, all my life, I would have people around me seeking for help, boys, girls from young age, and I was passionate about helping people to live together, be in harmony. I don't like conflict, so I always help people to dissolve conflict. And then I came here many years ago from Israel, and my English was probably out of 100, it's like probably 5%. And I had to learn very quick how to communicate with people. So I realized that not always it's about the language, it's about so many other things. But at that point, I didn't know what I was doing. Fast forward, after going to college here, taking more classes here, I became a teacher in a high school. And then I remember always, as a teacher, the system today always teaching you how to teach, to transfer the knowledge. Um, and I always felt like you can be a bad teacher as a teacher as far as transferring the knowledge, but if you know how to connect with students, if you know how to find the right words and to influence the students, that will follow you. They will know what to do, and then they not just they will learn from you. You'll affect them for life with your philosophy and who you are and what you do. And that's how I transitioned in. I decided that as a teacher, every teacher should be a coach. So I went into a coaching school, fell in love with it. Then I went to NLP school, fell in love with it, second love. And then I combined all of it together, develop a leadership and business ethics class at the school that I used to teach. And then I realized that students came to me, to my class, even though the college counselor said, you don't need her class. And my class was packed because the students realized we love it. And now I have a secret to share that I always tell my clients, my students. They said, when I was teaching that leadership class to students, I always said, the teenagers, they'll get the result. They'll get what I'm teaching them much faster than adults. Why? As we grow up, we have more blocks in our minds, and no, it's not going to happen. We have more fear, we have more worries, and the no's is more than the yes. And I can tell you, I had students that start doing public speaking, started their own business, and they became better communicator. I taught them how to get better grades from teachers.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's how I transitioned from high school, and I realized, wait, why just students transition out of high school, open my own practice, my own business. And then I work now these days with companies, entrepreneurs, tech companies all over the world. I learned that because I was a teacher, and I know how to speak in front of audience, and now I do workshops all over the world, wrote some books about communication. Basically, I fell in love in communication and leadership. And in addition, now I also work with business owners, helping them to scale their business. But it's always start for me when I have clients, always start with, okay, let's see who you are, how's your communication skills, and then we start talking about the business.
Yeah, I think
Answer your question.
you work with a lot of, aspiring entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs. But I think most of us are not, unlike you, not born effective communicators. We have to learn how to develop that skill. But to go back a little bit, how do you define effective communication? Like, if you had to define that in words, what would you say that means to you?
Okay, simple. You have a message, right? When you want to convey the message to other people, they get it. But here's effective communication that I always say to my client. How do you know that they got your message? And quite often, business owners say, what do you mean, how do I know? I send them an email and they reply, I received it. I talk to them and I said, and they nod and they say, yeah, I got it. And my question's still going to be the same. And how do you know they get your message? Okay.
Right.
So what is effective communication? I have a message to you, but I also need to be clear that you received the message. Okay. And also effective communication, for me at least, if you're the boss or if you're the parent, when you ask people to do something that they disagree, they don't like, they need more clarification, they feel open, okay, to say either I don't like it, or I don't want to do it, or I don't understand it. And for you, effective communication, again, it's not to take it personally and say, okay, let me see what we can do about it. That's effective communication, not to get into too emotional.
Right.
Effective communication is also, it's like a game, ping pong.
Yeah.
Okay?
So you're building a connection, you're building trust, and you're building respect.
Yes.
Right?
Trust, I think, number one in relationship, every relationship, even if I have parents right now that listening to the show, right? You need to, as a parent, to build trust with your kids. It's the ABC of the relationship. If you have the kids has teachers, you need to build that trust also for your teachers. If you're the boss, if you're the CEO, you want to have a good, effective team, you need to build trust with your team. How to do it, that's a different question. But trust is like ABC of the relationship.
So you talked about a little bit. Why do people struggle with communication? Why do people struggle building that trust with their kids, with their employees, with their bosses? Why is it so challenging for a lot of us?
Okay, number one, hey, how much time do we have to talk about it? Number one, okay, that can destroy communication, good communication, is each one of us, we need to understand, each one of us has a different way of communicating. Now, when we are communicating with people, quite often we have a certain way of communicating. It depends on our bringing, who we are, our beliefs. And when we talk to other people, we expect them to think like us. But we need to understand, like, my personality, tell me what you think. I'll get it. I'll process it. I'll talk to you. I'll tell you how I feel. Quick. Some people, for them, it's like, talk to me, tell me something, but wait, I need time to process it. And you may have a person that say, what do you mean you cannot answer to me right now? I need the answer now. And that person, you just caused him a lot of stress, because some people need time to think, and we don't give them that time to think. Okay. Some people needs to do maybe more research about what you just told them. Some people may be lacking the confidence. I mean, we don't know. So number one, like we said, you need to know who's in front of you. Most people don't understand cues, small cues. Okay. Pay attention when you're talking. Maybe the person in front of you don't understand even what you're saying, and they say they're just nodding, but they don't get it. Look at the eyes, look at the body language, little things like that. Here's something that an issue that I see it over again in communication. It's the procrastination. I'm supposed to have a tough conversation, difficult conversation, right? Doesn't matter with who. Most people like to procrastinate difficult conversation. That's another way of destroying relationship.
Right.
Because it's immediately, and why people do it? Fear, lack of trust. If I'm the employee, should I tell my boss what I really feel? But it decreases motivation. Sometimes you see it in relationship, in the family, okay, husband and wife. When they decide to go to divorce, you say, okay, let's go to see a therapist, and then each one of them bring a baggage, and they look at each other. Why didn't you say before? Why are you waiting until now? When it was so simple, you could have repaired it right away. Now we all come with huge baggage with us. So that's another thing: procrastination, no dealing with lack of communication, and so much more.
And that happens to me when I want to have a difficult conversation with somebody. It'll provide a lot of stress for me. I'll keep pushing it off because I don't want to have that conversation, but I keep having the stress of the conversation. I still feel the stress of the conversation until I have the conversation. So in my mind, that's a bad thing, right? To procrastinate a difficult conversation.
Well, you're asking me, or you just answered?
I'm asking you. My assumption is that is a bad thing, right?
Yes and no. Why yes? At time, first of all, look what happened to you. You just mentioned it. I'm stressed about it. I'm stressed. I don't know how to do it. I don't want to maybe ruin my relationship. Let's say it's a friend. I don't want to ruin my relationship with my friend. Maybe it's an employee. I don't want the employee to, I don't know, maybe to leave because of this conversation, which could happen, right? So, but at time, procrastination is actually good. Why procrastination could be good? Maybe you are charged and you're emotional right now, right? So you need time to calm down. Maybe you're upset, but you say, wait, I don't have all the information. Let me gather the information before I'm talking to my friend, or maybe I'm talking to my employee or my wife even. And the last one, kids. How many times parents are upset at kids? Wow, you got an F, you got 50 or 60 or whatever. And the kids say, but the teacher, and the parents, no, I know you, teacher. So gather the information. And then what if it's you're upset and you have a team, and there's a time of crisis? Do you have time right now to have difficult conversation? You want to execute results. So right now it's not the right time. Maybe you want the team member or the other person, maybe they need to come forward and start the conversation. So you need a little bit of time. However, if you wait too long, that's not good, because at times, you may need a day or an hour or a couple of hours. But if you wait too long, guess what? You may lose the effectiveness of that conversation, because if you wait too long, guess what? That person maybe after a month will say, why is he talking to me about it? Okay. So my suggestion is wait a little bit if you need to wait, but have that conversation.
So I think what you're saying is you don't want to communicate with emotions. You want to make sure that your emotions are not getting in the way of proper communication.
Yeah, unless it's a conversation about how much you love your wife or your employee did a great job. Yeah, you do want to communicate with the.
Well, I mean, like with negative emotion, like when I've learned that through the years as an entrepreneur, I've had employees that have done things that have made me angry. And initially, I would just react in a negative manner, and it was counterproductive, right? I wasn't building that trust, and I wasn't building that bond. But when I do it from a place of calm and peace and more like thought, then I can effectively communicate with them properly, better, and build that relationship and that trust and keep their respect. So that's something I've learned the hard way. You know, I've burned a few bridges through your life,
and then in addition, you're right. In addition to, well, if you're still upset, okay, I cannot tell you, okay, it may take a week until you're not upset. So, and by then you lose the momentum. So the other way, you can be emotional about it. Okay. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to say I'm angry. All right. But when you talk to the person, here's the trick. Kind of put a block and say, I'm coming from a place of curiosity. So what does it mean? I'm coming from the place of curiosity. And in order not to be so emotional on the during the conversation, I tell my clients, have it before. Have that conversation in your head, right? Write the questions. You may want to write something they're going to say. You may don't want to, but have that conversation in your head, because have the conversation with someone else, okay? That you say, hey, I want to have that tough conversation. Why? Because if you're charged and you have it in your head and you talk to people, not people that say, yeah, you should get them. No, not that kind of a conversation. Someone that you trust that can help you to calm you down and say, what do you think the other person did? Or why did they do it? Because quite often you learn that this tough conversation, it is a lack of communication, lack of understanding. The person meant one thing, but the way he said it or it came out was totally wrong. Maybe if it's an employee, another employee gave him the wrong information. So that's why I said, have that conversation in your head, calm down, and be curious. And when you come from a space of curiosity, it change, because it's also build trust, okay, and rapport between you and the other person. He doesn't feel, because if the person feel, oh, he's there to get me, he may fire me, or the women usually they're like this, oh, I got to protect myself because he's going to tell me I'm all wrong, especially in relationship. And we don't want to show that we're wrong, right? Yeah. So the idea is like, hey, help me understand what just happened here.
Yeah. And it's less threatening, right? Because when you come with anger behind whatever words you're using, automatically it's human nature to get defensive and protect yourself, put up walls, and then that's it. You lost that bond and that communication ability with them, because now it's about fighting and not working together.
So it's, you don't want to activate the flight or fight mode, basically. Right. Because if a person feels is attacking me, I guess it's instinct. It's instinct. When somebody, I know that when someone, I just spoke to a girlfriend of mine on the phone, and her tones was like she was yelling. I said, I'm here. Why are you so passionate about it? I'm listening. But I felt that I start screaming, and then I said, why are we screaming when we should have a lovely conversation? So it's instinct.
Yeah, and I've learned that. I coach my son's basketball team. I've done it for a few seasons. And in the first few seasons, I got into arguments with a lot of the referees. And, I was just talking to them, and they started getting angry at me. And I realized that it was my body language and my tone was very angry. Even though I wasn't really angry, I was just trying to communicate. Like, I just came off as angry. So automatically they were just, ignoring me or fighting against me. So I realized, okay, I need to change my ways. I need to change my tone and maybe not yell at them, maybe be more quiet, or so they don't feel like I'm calling them out. So going back to what you say is understanding who you're speaking to and where, what experience they have, right? They've had a lot of experience with parents and other coaches. So automatically I'm put in that box with everybody else, even though I don't mean to be, angry at them. I was just trying to communicate my thoughts. So I've learned to communicate more efficiently and effectively. I've learned to be respectful to them before the game and after the game. And hopefully I'm rebuilding that relationship with a lot of the referees, because, obviously we're there to have fun. We're all there for the same purpose. So, and I think, in where it's communication with our families or in the workplace, we have to understand we're all have a common goal, right? We all have, most of the time, where people we're working with and we have relationships, we all have a common goal. So that's the only way we can be able to have better relationships with our coworkers and our families, by effectively, properly communicating with the right tone and body language. So going back to evaluating, like, I always think I'm a great communicator, but I don't know. I mean, how do people evaluate their communication skills?
Okay, I have a professional assessment that I do called DISC assessment that all my clients, when they start, it's helped me to be a better mentor, because then I know who's in front of me. And then also helps me to help them with their communication skills. So when I use the DISC is always about what's your communication styles. For example, There are some people, they like to know the deep personality, for example. It's give me the information right now. I always say, be brief and be out. Like leave the door. I mean, don't talk to me too much. Another way, these people don't have patience. They can walk into a room, they see a party. If they connect, they stay. If they don't connect, they can leave in 5 minutes. These are these people. The entrepreneurship type. Then other people communicate because they need to have the kumbaya, the tribe, many people around them. They're the one that call you, hey, Omi, we're going out tonight, or we have a game tonight, or would you like to go out, I don't know, somewhere. We're going on a trip. You recognize them because they will try to invite you. They always need to be around many people. They're always on the phone. They're always late because they talk to so many people. They try to change the world. You know, I can see by your smile, you already have someone in mind like that.
I'm thinking about a few people.
Yeah, exactly. The other one is the like system, the people that like system. So if you tell a person that loves system to do things fast, they can't. Okay. If you're the CEO and you say, okay, I need it by yesterday, they're like, huh? They can't because they need to build a system. They run on system. And by this smile, I know you already have somebody else in mind.
Well, yeah.
You maybe?
Myself.
And then the last one is the one that they fear of making mistakes. So these people, if you let a person like this to be a CEO of the company, there's a problem because they don't execute because they like to check everything by the dot. It's the one that you send them, hey, buddy, how you doing? And they say, oh, by the way, you have a spelling mistake or you forgot the dot. You know, that right. Kind of personality. Yeah. And they're afraid of make mistake. And they like when other people take, how to say, they're in charge, tell them what to do, takes the responsibility. So when you understand who is in front of you and how they like to communicate and what are the triggers, okay? Excellent. You start speaking their language.
Yeah.
Easy. So, like I know the way I am, sometimes I know people, my personality is all like, hey, let's go to lunch, right? Yeah. Let's go to dinner. Let's have a trip. And people that are very precise, like everything has to be planned ahead of time, like a month in advance. My personality is sometimes annoying to them, but I had to teach myself, Noah, understand because of my background. I understand it now. And I said, okay, he wants to meet 2 weeks from today at this time. And this is, and I'll do it. And I learned also this kind of people, I'll show up half an hour before so I won't be late. So
right. Yeah.
You need to know. Okay.
So it's important to understand what personality type you are and the personality type of who you're communicating with. Yeah. Or have not scientifically, but have a general idea.
Yes. Yes. Like some people like a client of mine, I used to say a sentence to him or something to do, like 2 words. And we say, do you mind sending me an email? And I was like, for 2 words.
Yeah.
And I know his personality type, and I say, yeah, that's how he is, because I know he checks he won't go to sleep before he checks every email, and he needs it organized, he needs it on his mailbox. So, see, somebody else will say, what's wrong with you? Can't you just write the note on the side? No, I understand.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm like that too. Everything is email, organized systems. So, I mean, that leads us to the next question. How has technology, obviously everybody has a computer in their pocket. How has that affected our ability to communicate properly?
Unfortunately, reduced our communication. People think because we have technology, we have the iPhone, we have the most advanced computer, we can communicate better now, but we're not. Here's one problem. When you send a text or email, happens to me so many times. People will call me, my friends, and there's like, how dare you telling me whatever, not me, between them. I say, because it's the way they read the text. Not always we put emojis. So at least if you write something sarcastic, add emojis to that. That's why we needed the emojis, right? But sending, we are so consumed with technology today. So people don't have time to talk to each other, to understand each other. Yes, we do have Zoom, but you lose a lot of the emotion and the body language on Zoom, right? And
Yeah.
so what I'm saying, it's great if, like, my family, they live all over the world. It's great because we can go now on Zoom and meet each other. So I said, technology is a tool. That's all. But don't forget to pick up the phone and talk to your friends and say, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Okay? Just to hear a warm voice. Or the same with the kids. How many families now, when I see, they go to dinner and I see everyone texting on the phone, like, my goodness, that's why you're going to dinner outside? Every phone should be away.
Yeah.
And teach the kids and the family. Okay, Simon Sinek was talking about it, and that was a few years ago. And since COVID, it got even worse than that. Okay,
Yeah.
we need to learn to put the phone away, look at each other eye, and just talk and understand each other.
Mm.
And there's nothing like this heart to heart conversation versus texting. Again, I want to say, hey, Omid, are we meeting today at this time? Yeah, great. Omid, where's my email? Great. But this is not the real thing. This is just a support to
Yeah.
communicate.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think there's positives and negatives. I think social media has allowed us to broadcast our lives and make statements to masses amount of people, whether it's our friends or acquaintances, more efficiently, but it's also replaced a lot of that human element of being able to communicate. I'm not a big text guy. I don't like to have conversations back and forth on text, but like you said, if it's a small statement, I love text. I love email, but having that, connection with somebody in person or over the phone, you really can't replace that, mostly in person. In person, I think, is obviously best, but we're all very busy. So if we can't meet in person, I think a phone call is second best.
And here's something, two things I want to say about teens or kids and their parents. You don't know, I cannot even express to you how many parents call me and they complain about their kids. I give him everything. Why
Yeah.
is not coming? Why is not calling me? Why they're blaming me? I said, because their social media right now, it's almost like a drug. And by the way, I'm not saying it because there are research.
Of course.
Many research about it. The social media, it's like a drug. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's number one. And the kids now, the world is like blaming the parents for everything. That there's like entitlement and blaming. And I say, that's why I say, leave technology aside when you are dealing with your kids. I have parents say, my kids text me for my birthday. I'm not talking about coming to the kids, to their birthday, sending the gift, doing something. Kids are texting their parents. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, what kind of a world we're living right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
and
it's
COVID
our
didn't help.
no, it made it worse.
Made it worse, actually, yes. And I
Yeah.
said,
So
we need to learn how to have quality time and work together and talk to each other again.
yeah. So just like anything, having boundaries and balance, maybe there's a certain amount of social media that's okay, but there's a fine line between becoming a drug and being able to control the habit. So
I read an article that in Silicon Valley, all the big names, right? I think I shared it with you before. They don't let their kids use technology.
yeah.
And they're the one that inventing technology, right? How come your kids cannot use it? There are schools there in the Silicon Valley that the kids cannot use computers for half of the day. How come?
Yeah. Yeah. They know that they know the numbers, they know the reasons.
Right.
So what can somebody do, like if I wanted to improve my communication skills? What exercises would you give me to do that?
Um, I don't know. I would first ask people that are close to you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. Like we do it with CEOs, with companies to do the 360 assessment. Like, how do they perceive you? It's good. It's interesting to ask people around you, but don't be emotional about it. What? So bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good. But I think if I need to give you a few things to start practicing, first of all, when you feel charged, don't answer. Here's one thing. Okay, I have a few things. First of all, don't answer. Breathe. Okay, breathing help give you more oxygen and time to think about it. Then it takes you out
Yeah.
of flight mode. However, here's a trick that I use it on CEOs. If you have a meeting and you're charged, you can always say, I gotta go to the restroom, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Or get up and get a cup of water. Or say, wait a minute, I forgot something on the other desk, I'll be right back. Find an excuse to take yourself out of this situation, out of that environment, and give yourself time to like relax, calm down. And as you're going somewhere or to the restroom, it's easy because no one is going to follow you there. So you just do breathing exercise, inhale and exhale. And then the other thing, always remind yourself, like I said at the beginning, come of a place of curiosity.
Yeah.
The other trick, when you feel that you're going to have a difficult conversation like this, pay attention to the location. What does it mean, location? Where I'm sitting when you're sitting. When you want to have a better communication, you maybe sit in an angle like this, not across from each other.
Less threatening.
And the other trick, repeat what people say. Years ago, there was a TV show called Colombo. I mean, I think you can Google it now and see. Watch one of them because he looks like nobody. And he always asks, he was doing that. I don't understand, come from a place of
curiosity.
And he was a killer. He was great. Okay, why? People trust him. People think he's not that smart. And he was like putting the pieces together. So when you come back to a place when there's a lot of like disagreement, people are upset, just play Colombo. Say, I don't understand. Can you help me understand? And when you talk this way, who wants to attack you? You look so helpless.
Right.
That's another trick. Drinking water, taking a break, moving. Yeah. But here's the deal. If you're with employees or family members, and there's we call it conflict or disagreement, right? You cannot say, let me think about it, and that's it. You say, you know what? I gotta think about it. Give me until tomorrow. Is that okay? And is that okay? And the person will nod, okay. Can we talk tomorrow at like to say 7:00 in the evening after dinner? You don't want to have a poison dinner. After dinner, yes. Okay. And then 7:00, you say, I'm ready. Technology aside, and then you start talking to the person. Yeah. Also, so it's not just to say, give me time to think about it, because now the other person can think, oh, how much time he's going to think about it? I don't know. And he is on stress. Tomorrow, 3:00, morning, whatever. Can we discuss it then? Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Yeah, I tend to do that too. I tend to do that a lot with my wife and kids. So I need to think about it. But I like your suggestion, giving it a definite time when you're coming back, because then it's not open-ended and they don't think that I'm just going to push it under the carpet forever. Exactly. Yes. Another thing that you said in our conversation was understanding that we have a certain way to do things ourselves, and we can't expect everybody to feel the same way as we do. So understanding their perspective of things is also very important. I think I'm a victim of that with my family and my employees in the past. I look at it from my standpoint. I don't understand why they don't think the way I do. And having that compassion and understanding from a point of curiosity is important.
Right.
Oh, this is great. I've enjoyed our conversation about communication. I think it's very important to be a good communicator, and I don't think you can be a good leader without being a good communicator. So, that's as an entrepreneur, it's important to be a good communicator, to be a good leader, or even a member of a family. It can help us in many different aspects of our lives. 3 questions that I ask everybody on my show. The first question is always, what is one thing you want to teach the world? Does not have to be related to the topic.
Okay. Not everything is personal. Okay. So whenever something doesn't work out, it doesn't matter where in your life. Not always the other person or the thing or your enemies, not always is personal. That's it. That's one thing.
Yeah. And I think we all learn that at some point in our lives. It's going back to not understanding that perspective. So if somebody is being mean to us or condescending, it's not a personal thing. It's probably something that's going on with them, and they're pushing that reflection on us. And
It's their
that
values. It's
yes,
usually, so if you want to have better relationship and understand people, always be curious. I use the word
be
curious.
curious. Yeah,
Be curious about their values, where they're coming from.
yeah,
Okay. And if you understand the other person point of view of the world and with their values, your life going to be so much easier. I also say people that want to get married, I always say, are you sure you understand your soon to be wife or soon to be husband, their values?
right.
One thing people, before they get into engagement, okay, any kind of engagement, check the other person values. You're looking for a job, you want to know what is about this company's values. What do you like about them? Because they interview you, but you also interview them.
Right.
Don't forget it.
Yeah, absolutely. Noah, is there a book that might have changed your life, or something that stands out, that's kind of changed the trajectory of your life, or a book that you recommend everybody read?
Yeah, the problem I have
Oh
so
man.
so many books. Oh my God, so many books at home. And here's the deal. I'm gonna do different from many of the people you interview. I don't want you to read one book. I
Yeah.
want the audience constantly read many books, not just
Right.
one.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not just one. If you're starting a business, read a book about how to start a business. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur, I'm reading now about the book, what is it? Lean Startup, because I do have clients that are startups clients.
Yeah.
So it depends. You have conflict with your kids, read a book about kids, but
Yeah.
something else, here's the advice. Don't always read the book and think, oh my God, this is the book, this is the best book, I'm going to do everything in the book. I mean, be a little bit flexible, because
Right.
whatever you read not always means that you have to do it, because it may be the right advice for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So my advice, keep reading books. Which
Yeah.
one? It depends on you.
Yeah. And sometimes you just have to read the right book at the right time.
Right time.
Like
Yeah.
I read, 20 years ago, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then recently I read it again, and it meant something completely different to me. My takeaway was different. So, the power of books is amazing. And sometimes you just have to read the right book at the right time.
May I add another advice for the
Please.
books? When I read books, that we talk about it. I listen to the book, but I also buy a hard copy,
Yeah.
and I annotate and I take notes. Okay. So, and like you do, I will read it again. So it's not just enough to read it once. Sometimes you need to read it 2-3 times. It's important. Annotate, take notes, and say, what in this book is related to my life right now? What can I take from it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's powerful. So my last question, how can people follow you or get in touch with you?
LinkedIn, the easiest way. LinkedIn, Noa, Noa, Ashtar, Ashtar, Schecter, Schecter. The easiest way, and I promise to respond to all of you.
Wow.
Noa Schecter.
Sounds great. No, I had such a good time.
Thank you.
I continue to learn a lot from you, and I thank you for everything you've done for me through the years, and look forward to continuing to grow, not only my career, but in every aspect of my life. So I thank you for that, and I thank you for your time today.
Pleasure.
It was a lot of fun. I want to remind everybody to like, follow, and share. Help us spread the word.